This edition of Mac Voices is supported by the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter to keep you up on all the latest from Mac Voices. Watch or listen to Mac Voices straight from your email client. Sign up at macvoices.com/newsletter and stay up to date. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is the Mac Voices briefing on the latest version of the Otherworld Computing Thunderbolt 3 dock. Back on Mac Voices 17.152, I talked about the previous version of the Otherworld Computing Thunderbolt 3 dock and all the expandability it brought. This new version is even better and brings more expandability, and I'm anxious to tell you why that if you need expansion for your Thunderbolt 3 equipped Mac, this should be your choice. Of course, expansion is what you want out of a dock, and this one delivers everything I'm about to mention through a single Thunderbolt 3 cable. That leaves any other Thunderbolt 3 ports you have, whether on a MacBook Pro or an iMac, free to add even more devices. The back of the dock is where the action is, with, from left to right, 4 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, a digital audio port, and a gigabit Ethernet port to connect to a switch for high-performance networking. And a little side note here. If you have a need for even faster networking and are disappointed with the gigabit Ethernet option, don't be. You can add OWC's Thunderbolt 3 10G Ethernet adapter to get that speed. Should it have been built in? I don't think so, because that kind of speed is needed only in certain circumstances by a very limited set of users, and it comes at a cost that would have pushed the price of this dock to a less competitive point. Just so you know. Next come 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, one for connecting the dock to your computer and charging your MacBook with 85 watts of power. The other one is used to connect another Thunderbolt 3 device and can support daisy-chaining 3 Thunderbolt devices and displays. Speaking of displays, the mini display port can connect to pretty much any display from VGA up to 5K. Finally, the DC power port is where your Thunderbolt 3 gets the power to perform its magic. Switching around to the front of the dock, all the ports on the front are the ones that you would want easily accessible. Both micro SD and standard-sized SD card slots with no adapters needed, an analog audio in-out port for headphones or microphones, a USB 3.1 Gen 1 port, and a USB 3.1 Gen 2 port. Make note of those last two, because they mean that from the front of the dock, you can plug in any legacy USB storage devices or one of the new models without the need for any adapters or adapting cables. As someone who uses small bus power drives on a daily basis, that is huge. Depending on your configuration, you can drive 2 4K monitors or 1 5K monitor from the dock, which should be more than enough screen real estate for just about anyone. You can do your own math on how many drives and devices that you own that will connect to this dock, but I'm betting it will handle pretty much everything you have and maybe a little more, all in a compact yet attractive package. As you would expect from OWC, the ports are spaced so that none of them will be blocked by connections on neighboring ports. The low-profile design allows for easy placement under a monitor stand of almost any design, placing the ports on the back in the same general area as the ports on the back of your iMac, and the front ports exactly where you would want them for easy accessibility and convenient use. If you're using the dock with a MacBook, then it can be positioned on either side of the laptop or, again, under a laptop stand if you're trying to elevate your MacBook to closer to ergonomic eye level. A couple of specific notes you should be aware of. If you plan on using the dock with an Apple SuperDrive, an Apple USB keyboard, or wish to use the dock with high-speed charging of iPads, iPhones, or other high-power capable devices, you will need to download a special driver and restart the dock after installation. Not a big deal, but a note you do need to be aware of. Another thing is that the Thunderbolt 3 dock is compatible with bootable USB devices in macOS, so if you want to boot from a drive connected through the dock, you will be able to do so. The OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock measures 1 inch in height, 9.1 inches in width, and 3.5 inches in depth, works with Mac or Windows, comes in space gray and silver, and retails for $299 at macsales.com. I've had the Thunderbolt dock in use now for several weeks, and it has performed exactly as advertised and as expected. I've talked before on the show about how specifications and statistics are great for measuring things, but I personally prefer real-world performance. And so I was anxious to get my hands on this dock and try it out, and had the opportunity to do so thanks to the folks at OWC, and it has performed wonderfully. I've had multiple Drobos. I've had multiple drives plugged into this dock. In use, I have used the audio headphone jack. I have it wired into my Ethernet network. I've connected multiple displays to it, and it does exactly what it was supposed to do, drive all of those things with no problems. It's something that I can highly recommend if you're running a Thunderbolt 3 Mac and have that need or desire for the expandability, or maybe even just the convenience of having those ports on the front of the device. The OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock can be had at macsales.com. Go check it out. And that's the MacVoices briefing on, again, the OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.